Hello and welcome. So this is going to be a bit of a different stream today. We're actually going to be talking a little bit about the Alpha 2 playtest of the Ashes of Creation. Wow, I was like, sorry, there was like numerous things like popping through my head. Like I need to make posts and stuff. So give me 1 second as I do that. I probably should have done beforehand, but I was too eager to start doing the stream and getting all of the multi-streaming and stuff like happening. So the playtest happened over the weekend. I managed to record a handful, about like 2 hours worth of footage that I'm going to be playing in the background as I'm talking. But before I do that, I want to like cover some let's cover the bases and like the ground rules and all that stuff. So Alpha 2 was a stress test. So I'll go over what the stress test is if you're not familiar with it in terms of like testers. If you've not done any playtesting before, whether it be beta or alpha, a stress test is basically like checking in the intervals of like how much the demand is going to be on the servers as like numerous amounts of people are like coming in and going out and basically like messing with the queues. So there'll be like several hours of playtime and then it'll go down for a couple of hours and then, or like an hour or so.
I think your audio is echoing BTW Nenato to lurk.
Oh, is it? I don't think I've ever had that happen before. Hey, the chat's working though. That's cool.
Unless my Twitch is being dumb.
Testing 1 2 3. I'm not seeing any anomalies in my audio mixer. Maybe it's Twitch. Maybe it's Twitch's end. Testing 1 2 3. I could just talk quieter.
I am on mobile, so I wouldn't be surprised.
Oh, maybe. I didn't think about that. Could be. So long as it's not jarring enough that you can't listen. Yeah, I'm weirdly not seeing any anomalies.
Yup. I was Twitch lol my b. It.
Okay, cool. Okay, so the point of the Alpha 2 for the playtest was to discern the volume. That's why they did a lot of why they made the Alpha 2 playtest a purchasable item, so that they could get people in to like create sort of like a scenario in which everybody would log in and then they would like make adjustments to the server to facilitate the capacity. That's basically the point of an Alpha 2, but also the point of being able to show off bits and pieces of the game, which I should probably switch over and see start up the recording. So I did record like 2 hours worth of video just on the off chance that I might not be able to stream it, which was a great thing for me to have the foresight for, because the last day of the playtest, the whole system got DDoS'd and nobody could play the game at all on Sunday, which never ceased to amaze me how something as old as a DDoS attack is still something that can mess up everybody's day. But it is what it is. But thankfully I did my recording so I could show off a bit of the game. This was part of there was no particular NDA when I received my instructions, so people could stream it and talk about it, and that's what I'm going to do. So I'm going to switch on over to the stream. But since I basically like covered the basis of like of what a stress test is for alpha purposes, there were still bits and pieces of like that were like sort of hiccups, as you'll see as we talk a little bit about the game. So I actually took notes. I want to make sure that I cover most of my bases. Okay, so at the start of the playtest, logging in was a bit of a chore, because of the capacity, and they hadn't made the appropriate adjustments yet. I had to actually log in a couple of times to an EU server, but as the test progressed along, it was easier and easier to get into NA servers.
Hey at Arashi_Namikaze. Are you actually playing this game right now, or is this a video?
It's a video. So I recorded it on Saturday, thinking that something would probably happen on the last day, because I was going to stream it on Sunday, but there was a DDoS attack that happened, for which the game was down the entirety of Sunday. So I'm thankful that I actually got the foresight to prepare. But yes, it is actual gameplay, but it's recording. So if that answers your question.
Is this alpha phase over?
It is over. It was, but I think because of the DDoS attack, they might have another weekend to sort of make up for what people missed out on Sunday. I'd have to look at their Discord to double check, but I think that's the plan. Actually, I can do that real quick right now. Where are you, Discord? There you are. So I don't accidentally. I forgot where my Discord was. So according to the Ashes of Creation Discord, the team would like to thank everybody who helped out the playtest. Changes to improve stability and squash bugs for next weekend. So there's going to be another bit of it this coming weekend, I think. So if you haven't gotten, I don't know if you can even still purchase them anymore, but if the playtest keys are available on their website and this is something that is interesting you, go ahead and take a look. It's kind of costly, but it's pretty good. I did my pre-order, I think like last year or something like that. So
I am
that's why.
heavily considering it.
Okay. So back, which I basically covered in the weird the login issue, which got steadily better as the game was throughout the playtest. I wouldn't say this is sort of like weird, but I think because I'm not really sure how to categorize this. I had to go into the game with medium settings to get over some of the graphical anomalies that I was having. So like I was playing at a higher a higher graphical setting and I was getting kicked out, so I had to go to medium. And mind you, I have a 4090, so it's not like I have like subpar equipment or hardware. So that's weird in and of itself, but I imagine that's probably going to get sort of smoothed out as we get into the beta 1 and 2. So that's just something that I want to like throw out there that I thought was interesting. The UI, I have an issue with the UI because the text is extraordinarily small in the game. You could probably see a little bit of it if it's illegible for you because it's small text on a smaller screen. Let me go to a bigger screen real quick. A slightly bigger
In signing
screen.
up for an account, do you have a referral code I could use?
I don't think I do. I actually don't. I could check if I do. Ashes. Am I still logged in? Let's see. Referrals. Oh, I can. Okay. I actually can. I'll post it. You're on. This is on Discord, right? Or this is on Twitch. Yeah, it's on Twitch. So that is my, I guess my referral code. If anybody's interested in signing up. I actually didn't know I could do that. That's fun. I might have to put that in my Discord and a couple of other people's Discords. But yeah, I'm IRL, I'm nearsighted, so I wear glasses. And I had trouble reading the text of the game. Even in the post recording, I'm looking at it and it's one of those things where it's like there's so much information that the quest tracker is trying to convey that it's, because if you know, because I don't know if you can notice in the recording, there's actually a scroll bar on the quest tracker because there's so much information. So I would probably say it would be easier to probably like rework or like look into the quest tracker a little bit more. So during the downtime, I was asking people in a Discord, hey, is there a way to change the text size? And as far as like increasing the overall size of the UI, there wasn't really an option. But to be fair, probably if there was an option, I couldn't read it because it was so small. And another thing was the iconography. So it's sort of like the overall icons in the overworld or in the map. It's very confusing. So it's not something that you could just be like, oh hey, have like question marks or exclamation points or something. Because it's like, hey, you know, because obviously WoW probably like took that, so not many people can use it, I imagine. But like, so let me open up my stream real quick and see. So there's these like golden diamond like icons on the map in the top right corner. I think that is where quests are. And then there are orange diamonds over NPCs when things get completed, which is kind of weird and intuitive to me, because it's like, if the quest is done, there shouldn't be an icon. So every now and then, like, I'll go over and talk to them just to see what's going on with them, and they'd be like, just nothing, no dialogue, no new dialogue anyway. So it's kind of felt like a bit of a time waster. And that's, I think that's probably the things that sort of like overall like jumped out at me during the alpha test. At least actually playing the game, like actual gameplay. So I probably clean up how questing is done for the most part might help not have people feel like what they're doing is wasting time. But there are some dudes, I think they were probably during the original alpha test, who, because like the level cap for the alpha 2 test I think was 25, and there's some like some vets who probably have been in during the first alpha, because they got almost all the way up to 20 by before the DDoS attacks, and probably past 20. So that's nuts. But part of my overall testing was like to see how the classes felt. And right now the footage is playing the Ranger. So you, as soon as you get out of the starting area, which is like a ruined, I want to say like a necropolis or something like that, because there's these like weird like ghoulish goblins that are just surrounding the entirety of these ruins, and you're fighting through the ruin to get out into the overall world. And there's like a starting city, and that, I wouldn't say starting city, like a settlement. So basically, if you were playing WoW, you would start out in the ruins of, we'll say like, what's an iconic World of Warcraft reference that I could be? Westshire Abbey, right? The human starting area. Your whole point is to like make your way through a horde of goblins to try and get to Goldshire. I think it's been a long time since I played the game, but yeah. So, and then there's like a couple of quests that you go through, and in this Goldshire equivalent, I think it's called Ember Song, but I think it was also called Iron Song. So there's like some conflicting names that were happening during that, but it's either one of those two. So it teaches you, the starting town basically teaches you overall questing, what to look for. it would have been cool if it gave me like some more like interesting methods of going through some of the quests, like give me like points or people of interest to like sort of help guide me through, because there was a side quest involving a curse in the town, and you basically had to go through an investigative process of like looking through the town, talking to people, and to find find out where to go next. And that was overall kind of frustrating. It's like, it's one of those things where it's like, respect the time, because there's only so little of it that you can do during a playtest. So probably a little more like hints or clues with some more iconography to help get people to feel like they're not wasting their time. But I think I want to transition over to talking about the classes. So actually we'll start with character creation actually. So during the Alpha 2 playtest, you got to pick 3 races. It was basically like human, traditional elf, and then a sort of, I don't want to say monstrous, but like a different type of elf that looked more had more monstrous features, sort of like, how do I put this? It was sort of like elf, and then like a more exaggerated drow looking character. If you're if you play D&D or something like that, it looked like a dark elf, but it was like larger and more robust than a normal elf. And then the classes themselves, if I can remember correctly, was bard, cleric, I guess fighter, but it was like a warrior, I think, and mage, ranger, and tank. And that's the name of the class. The class is called tank, and I guess if you guessed what your role was, it was the tank. If I probably got far enough in, I probably could have messed with the archetype feature, the additional archetype feature, but time wouldn't let me get too far. And I only played the ranger, which is the footage right now, mage, and a little bit of cleric, because paladin was my WoW class, so I messed with a little bit of the cleric. Cleric's fine. I didn't get a chance to like delve deeper into the class because it would go down for stress test purposes, and I was like, okay, I'll log back in, and whatever server I land up, I'll just make a new character. Ranger, which the footage is playing right now, which I've stated before, unfortunately, I have a habit of doing that. So something that I didn't expect when I was messing with this is that you have a primary weapon and a secondary weapon, and you can choose whatever weapons you want. It doesn't affect like how the actions work. At least that's what it felt like in this game. So as a ranger, most of my action abilities I don't know what they're called, like powers, I guess. Basically did involved doing acrobatics or shooting a bow. One thing I did find during the test was that I could have my melee, if I had a melee weapon equipped, I could still use my ranger abilities of shooting the bow. So I'm curious, and I might have to like mess with it some more to be like, okay, if I do this, do I even need a bow equipped for my character? And then Ranger felt sort of underwhelming. I'm sure Ranger at higher levels is probably a lot more fun, but like playing Ranger during the game, I did not enjoy it. Cleric was, I mean, Cleric is Cleric, so it's usually good. Another thing is I think you could equip any weapon, or not any weapon, any armor that you wanted to play. And obviously there are like corresponding stats that went with it. So if you wanted to be a heavy armor cleric, you totally could. At least during this playtest. I don't know like where so in the second part of the video where I play a mage, which mage feels the most complete. Mage feels probably like the most interesting and satisfying one to play. Ranger does not. Ranger felt sort of underwhelming, but it's kind of hard, like even in D&D it's kind of hard to like pinpoint what the actual fantasy is of a ranger, even in tabletop. So yeah, I kind of hope that they like go back and like mess with the ranger some more. That's just me. I wanted to mess with the bard, but once I clicked with mage, it was kind of hard to like switch off to something else. Let me oh yeah, I have a lot of footage. I might switch over to might switch over because I think it was like during the halfway point I was okay. Yeah, this is mage. I don't know how much stuff I got from mage. So mage's starting weapon was a wand, and immediately after starting the game, actually this is talking about the questing that I did. Experience in gear was really hard to come across, at least for me, but at least they had like these like things called commissions, which kind of felt like dailies. I don't know how quickly they would refresh, but they rewarded some experience, but they didn't reward any like monetary or any items for that matter. So if you wanted gear, you had to go north of the necropolis, where I was kind of at during the ranger playthrough, and try to like pray to RNGesus to get me like a full set of gear, which did not come. But I'm trying to think if there's anything else. The weapons are interesting. So there's a mechanic called Deadly Finish, and basically there's a chance to proc the weapon's secondary effect which you choose when you pick up the weapon, basically, or when you've like accumulated enough experience while using the weapon. There's weapon experience also that's separate from your actual level. So at some point, I think during this recording, I was a mage and I picked up a great sword, and the great sword had, I think all of the weapons have 3 options that you could choose for your deadly finish. The great sword was bleed, wound, and snare, which sure. I messed with the bleed because I felt like that was the most appropriate. The spell, that's I only mess with the spells based off of what class I was using, and I think because I was a mage, my deadly finishes were the effects that proc from the elements. So I had burning, chill, and something called volatile. And volatile is very good. But volatile felt really good, and the range was kind of ridiculous. So in the starting area, I had I'm trying to, like, I procced something from maybe like 30 yards away, it felt like. Maybe 20. I might be overestimating, but yeah, mage felt really good. So when you, the thing about mage is, like, when you use an elemental spell, you could imbibe your weapons with that element, and that's what causes you can, like, choose a deadly finish to happen in conjunction to or without the element that is. Oh, let me restart. So the mage itself can imbibe its weapons with elements. The element is whichever one you last use, and it would apply the deadly finish of that element. So if you had a weapon, if you used a fire spell, your weapon would be infused with fire, and your deadly finish would be whatever the deadly finish was for the element. But that also stacks with whatever the weapon's deadly finish was as well. If that makes any sense. So there was occasion where, but like the deadly finish would only, like the weapon's deadly finish would only affect the creature that was hitting it. If you had something like volatile, it could arc out and hit multiple enemies. And that felt really powerful. Like if I was a melee mage tank, that would be a really cool way to grab aggro. But yeah, it's definitely one of those things where it's just like you kind of have to like play. Let me see if I can find actual footage of this happening. Oh, actually, yeah, so I finally leveled up with this character, so I'm applying a skill point on the skill tree. So here is, oh, my mouse isn't working. My mouse isn't on. Hold on. Properties, Capture mouse. Okay, cool. So right here is class, and right here is weapon. This is stamina, and this is your skill book, which I think is just tells you what all like your what everything you have together is. Currently equipped, and so the circles with the plus sign is there's a multiple option there. So there's fireball and firebolt. I think which one did I choose? Actually, I wasn't even paying this. I think this is the play. I think this is the run where I did fireball. So you get to. So as you noticed, I casted fireball, and now my book is aflame, and all of my attacks now will do fire damage. Well, there's no indicator of what type of damage it is, but it's implied that there's fire. It's fire damage. This was weird. I don't know what happened here during the playtest. I never did go back to see if it was like a bug. But yeah, I started messing around with that. So Firebolt was an instantaneous cast that did like maybe like a quarter of the damage less than what Fireball was doing. Let me look and see. The animations feel pretty good. Wait. Okay, so this is. So I equipped it. I equipped it a scepter, which is like a mace, and a shield. So I was going battle mage. So, and because I still had the fire imbued on, my scepter was aflame also. And this is me trying to like kill still to try to get this quest done, because over here in the map, the mini map over here, there's that gold diamond right here. That's where it basically says like, hey, kill things that are like on this platform so that you can get whatever item you're supposed to get according to that. But I was like, all right, let's go. So this is me respecking during the. So I switched over from Fireball to Firebolt for more instantaneous. It took me a minute to figure out how to get the action bars off, like the lost action bar, or actions off my bar. But I do end up figuring it out after a certain point. So it was me switching between the spell book and the scepter and the shield. I think at some point I switch over. Oh, and another thing, I was like, if you want to recover health and mana, you have to sit down. So it's sort of like really old school World of Warcraft. So there's two like control methods for the camera. So there's traditional mode, and then there's what I think they dubbed action mode. So traditional mode, your mouse cursor is present on the screen, and you have to like click or right click in order to like select your target and then or move the camera. Action mode is the mouse is just your camera, so you can steer your character with the mouse. And action mode sort of like does an auto target. I think it targets whichever enemy is the closest to you, but you can still do a tab target. So while in action mode to like focus fire on a specific enemy. Which I played predominantly in action mode. However, there's a lot of like really weird issues that I had while playing the game, and that if you got on your mount, it would force you back into traditional mode, and you couldn't switch. And then dismounting off of your dismounting kept you in that traditional camera mode. It doesn't return you to the state in which you was in prior. Okay, this is me like putting the skills on. So this is me putting chill on my spell book. Oh, the scepter does have its own. Okay, so the scepter has, the top one is stagger. I know it's really hard to read. And the bottom one is daze. This one does extra damage with weapon combos, extra or penetration with weapon combos. And I think over on the other side, it's do more damage on a deadly finish or increase the chance or likelihood to do a deadly finish. But the cool part with the mage is you can apply your elements deadly finish in addition to your weapons deadly finish as well. So yeah, it feels like the mage was probably like, whoever was working on the mage had a clear vision of what they were wanting to do with it. And this guy was just letting me die. I will say, overall, this game feels really very tough. I think somebody was trying to res me, but couldn't finish it off in time. Yeah, clerics start out with a res. You know, it would actually be really fun if Ashes did like a heat map of like where everybody died, because there was so much dying. Yeah, it was fun. I think where do I even do it in this one? Oh, I do. Okay, cool. So I'm using the greatsword right now. Yeah, so this is when I figure out that, oh, I can use any weapon. I was like, let me use the greatsword. And oh man, it felt really interesting. I will say, like, some of the alpha footage from like when they were like showing off the weapons in like a live stream prior felt real, like looked better than it did in this one, but they probably have a different build. Yeah, you can block with the greatsword. Also, so one thing that I did when I was doing when I was playing, I messed with the key bindings. So I started out with the right mouse click being the dodge button, and I was like, that's not working that well. So I made my right mouse click the block button, and then made left control my dodge, and that felt substantially better. So I'm like, so I just decided to like just go back to the temple and like grind up. Oh, I leveled up there. Also, I didn't realize. So I'm gonna grab Lightning Strike here as a spell, as an action, and I don't find out until way later that you can channel the Lightning Strike to do more damage. I didn't catch that. Like I realized that it's a thing that happens. Like I realized somebody else did it, and I was like, wait, you can hold in the spell? And then I started doing it, and it was really cool. So it's like I had a fire imbue, I think, and then yeah. And now I have lightning imbued into the greatsword. Yeah, whoever worked on mage outdid themselves, because it felt like the most interesting and customizable, and my volatile procced. So you actually got to see somebody get hit with a discharge. Yeah, I think if I held it in, I probably would have doubled the damage. So volatile procced and hit that guy. But there were instances where like I would like volatile would proc and I would hit like 4 or 5 other enemies aside from the dude that I was hitting. Yeah, if I had known that I could actually channel that, I probably would have done like 80 damage. Yeah, at no point did I realize I could keep charging it until way later. So the rogue, the summoner, and I don't remember what the other class was. But there's like a couple classes that they didn't put in the game or in the playtest because they're just not ready to do it yet. I would have played rogue. But I don't know if I would have liked it. Definitely something that I would like to do is probably play some sort of class, like some class with a summoner background or with a summoner archetype, so that I could get the augmentations to like do something interesting. So I feel like they've said before that if you played like a class like rogue or fighter, like if you got the summoner background or the summoner archetype as a additional like class option, you could summon weapons as like a part of it. And I'm like, I'm so down. I'm so down. I was like, I love summon weapons. Like that's peak fantasy for me. But yeah, Greatsword felt really good with the mage. It just already has battle mage potential like built into the game. It's really fun. I'm trying to think if there was like anything else that I managed to mess with during the playtest, but I don't think there was anything more. Overall, it's probably one of the most challenging playtests that I've been a part of. Not saying that like not because of like it being a stress test, because I've been in those before. I've done a lot of playtests actually, a lot of betas, a couple of alphas, but yeah, when I say it's probably one of the most challenging, I mean it's like difficulty. Like it actually felt like a challenging to play, because it was like new game, who this, and like what's your stuff, like what's your deal, you know what I mean? Yeah, there's not more that I could probably add, other than I think this is a really good I think this is a really good MMO. I probably will definitely like play more of this when the game actually does release. I think there's a lot here. It's one of those things where I feel like they said that it might be free to play when it came out. Like obviously you would need to like buy the game initially to like actually get all of the stuff, and then I think it's free to play afterwards, sort of like Guild Wars 2. But I feel like there's a lot here that is really fun. So I think I like party up with, so I'm grinding enemies at the moment to like afford gear, because gear is king. I think it's, you could probably easily get like several levels just in the starting area, just fighting the monsters. It's me looking at the artisans. I did not mess with the artisans all that much. So it's like WoW, and then there's gathering professions, and then there's the trades professions that processes the gathered materials. So there's a lot of that. There's a couple of things that involve that, like armor smithing, weapon smithing. I don't know if there's general blacksmithing. There's just leather, cloth. There's an alchemy station. That's all I saw. The overall layout of the starting town is kind of wonky for questing. It's like you got to go to the north part of the town to like get the quest or the updates to the quest, and then go to the south part of town to like do all the processing for the main like trades quest. There's that. Oh, do I I'm trying to think. It says me chopping down a tree. Yeah, there's licenses that you have to acquire in order to do some of the more robust aspects of the trades. Like I don't know if everybody can do the gathering. I don't know. I don't know if there's like I'd have to actually mess with trades next time the playtest comes around. I'm hoping that the beta and both betas are going to be are going to have no NDA, but I imagine one of them is going to, which is going to suck. So I won't be able to talk about that. Okay, that was weird. I think one of my cats is trying to get into the room. But yeah, I think there's a lot of potential, and I think that's probably why it got DDoS attacked. It's so funny to me that it was just like it never dawns on you until it happens that it's like, oh, I was like, do we have DDoS attack prevention? No, because I didn't even think about it. I've been in multiple playtests. I've been in multiple alphas. I've been in multiple betas, and I never, not one, had gotten DDoS attacked. Not a one. This was the first one. That's crazy to me. I can talk about a couple of them actually. I've let's see. There's a couple that I can talk about. There's several that I can't. So I was in the beta for, what was it? The Star Wars SOTOR. I was in the betas for that. I'm trying to think if there's anything else I've been in. I want to say SOTOR might have been the last MMO one. What were some of the other ones? I think I was in WildStar. Oh, I was in Elder Scrolls. The Elder Scrolls beta? Maybe? Question mark? I'm pretty sure it was beta, but I don't know if there's any more I could say on that. Like, NDAs are stupid, but you have to respect them. Otherwise, you won't be able to actually, like, you know, do any more. So there's some NDAs where it's just like, yeah, you just can never talk about this at all under any circumstances. Maybe if the game dies, you can talk about it. But yeah, that's about it. But like, my overall experience with the game Um, you give me the option to increase the text size, and probably in the next one I'll be able to actually like increase my graphical settings. Maybe. There was a lot. They managed to do a lot of like hot fixes and bug test, like bug reports and stuff like that with this one. So I wouldn't doubt. I wouldn't doubt that I would like a lot of the things that went wrong. Oh, I had a hilarious moment where I was like going over the bridge. Like there was like where I'm at right now, there's a giant bridge that's over it. And you have to, I don't know if you have to, but there's like a commission in Retrospect that like needs you to go over the bridge to where griffins are, and a couple of them are um just scout out the nest, and I think there's one that is like, hey, kill a griffin, and they're like level 6 or 7, and it's like, what? I just realized the music was over. Pop. Put that back up. I mean, I'm almost done anyway, because I felt like an hour was probably enough to talk about this. Yeah, I'm sure all of the issues that I have are going that happened during the first one isn't going to be a thing in the next one. Give me the ability to change the text size and maybe like clean up the iconography so I don't feel like I'm wasting time during the limited run of the playtest. Those are probably my only gripes gameplay wise. At least with the game as a whole. Ranger did not feel great. Cleric is good because it's a cleric. It's hard to mess up cleric, I feel like. And mage is spectacular. I would love to be able to play the fighter, tank, and bard next time. I honestly would love to see. Oh, I was actually about to ready to tell a story. But yeah, there's this giant bridge that's over the starting town that I was just in on the video, and I was crossing it to get over to a quest, and there was like some greenery that was on the bridge that was like sort of matte, like. Like, okay, I didn't really think much of it, but it was like obscuring my vision of the hole in the bridge's floor. So when I crossed over the greenery, I just fell through the bridge to my death. I was like, really? I wish I had gotten that recorded, because it was just really funny. But yeah, I can't think of anything else. I'm wondering if I can find if I have footage of like people teaming up with me to fight the goblins that are outside of the. But yeah, it definitely feels very challenging and rewarding. I don't see, or rather, Oh yeah, this weird bug. I forgot about this weird bug. Okay. In some cases, if actually there's more. There's so much more that I forgot to talk about. Okay. So there's this bug where randomly at intervals during combat, the camera will force you into like a first person mode. And I had to actually go on the Discord while I was playing and be like, hey, this is I was like, hey, I'm randomly going in first person while I was playing Ranger, and basically was like, hey, this sucks. And then somebody was like, mount and dismount. And so I was like, okay. So I pull out the mount and I got on it and it reset the camera. And I was like, wow, I'm happy. I was like, well, I'm surprised that this happened, or this is something that happened that I have to worry about. Yeah, that was goofy. Also, another thing that's goofy, and I don't know if they fixed this, but so if you die and you leave your mount, that's a thing that can happen. You can actually leave your mount. Like, as you can tell, like there's probably like some spots during this playthrough where there's like just mounts that are abandoned because somebody got off of it to talk to NPCs, because you can't talk to NPCs while mounted, apparently. I guess it's rude. But there were times where I left. This happened maybe like 2 or 3 times. I left my mount unattended and I died, and when I tried to summon my mount when I revived, the mount was dead. And I didn't have that happen after I was like, well, this is stupid. And it wasn't like I was like actively trying to make sure that the mount was fine. But yeah, it was like, this is actually annoying. So if the mount died, there was a 10-minute cooldown, and I was like, really? I think this is about, I'm coming up on there being an update. So I had like 2 or 3 hours worth of footage here, and this is like coming to a close where they were about to run a test or run an update. It was going to be down for like 30 minutes or something. Overall, after that happened, I started like really keeping tabs on where my mount was. I also noticed that if you had to like click on the mount, the mount icon, the mount item twice in most cases, because I guess like it pulls it to a neutral state from where it was on the map prior to, and then you have to do it again to like bring it out from that neutral state to where you are. I'm assuming that's what's happening. Normally, if you died or you dismounted, it doesn't leave the mount, or it causes the mount to dissipate. And I think they did that because they want the mounts to be a physical, like actually have a physical presence in the world outside of just being something that you ride, which is cool. But don't make them targetable to hostile creatures and die as a result. because you only have one mount during the playtest, and it's kind of annoying. Kind of annoying when it dies. Yeah, I overall wish that I can find some friends to play this game with, because it's actually really fun. I do like it. I do like it. But I think that's sort of my review. If the next playtest is this, I think this weekend is also doesn't have an NDA, I will definitely be streaming it over the weekend. But yeah, it's good. It's good. This has the potential to be a really solid game. And that's probably all I'm going to say at this point right now. But yeah, thank you for listening to me give a review and yap about this game. It's fun. I like it. And I mean, I don't think there's anybody that I can raid right now because I'm restreaming.
Have you played the other alpha? And BTW, your model is Chef's Kiss.
I unfortunately, when I pre-ordered it, I did not have access to the alpha, the first alpha. And thank you. But if you guys don't haven't made an account yet, I have a referral code.
Suck little heart.
If you guys want to make an account, I have a referral code. And yeah, I think this is gonna be good. I can't, I'm currently multi-streaming, so I don't think I can raid out. But yes, thank you. Thanks everybody for coming and listening to me rant about the game. I will probably be back Thursday with a normal game like God of War Ragnarok. And then I'll be doing the second part of Alpha Test 2 over the weekend. So please check it back in over the weekend and watch me play. Till then, Arashi out. Later on, guys.